All right, folks, I think I have the live stream working for once and for all this evening or this late afternoon. So, thank you for bearing with me. I think everything's fine. My internet's connected. Give me a few minutes and I will be ready, folks. I have to get everything loaded back up here. Enjoy the music for a second. Press the like button, folks, because the more likes we get, the more people who join. So I get all those people back. I appreciate it. I appreciate your confidence in me to get this live stream back up and going. It has so far. Cross your fingers, it continues. Press that like button, everybody. I appreciate it. And join back in. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for waiting patiently. We are back. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. We are finally back live. We had a couple attempts at going live here this evening. It didn't work out as well as it hoped. The internet was having some issues. We got it resolved, hopefully, for the rest of this evening. I appreciate everybody's patience and sorry for the inconvenience, everybody, but we're back. So make sure to press that like button as you did earlier. I appreciate everybody joining back here. We're talking about severe weather that is going on here for the rest of this week, and it looks pretty significant as we go through the week as well, and this could mean we have the threat of a derecho on our hands. So let's go into the weather forecast here in just a moment. Again, I am Weather on the Go. I'm from Northern Illinois. Thank you guys so much for joining. This is where I'm stationed at, is Northern Illinois. I provide people with detailed weather breakdowns pretty much daily throughout the week, and we kind of go over the weather pattern, high temperatures, low temperatures, the whole weather pattern, and what you can expect for severe weather. I do cover all the North America for the most part, including the United States, of course, southern Canada, and the tropics. I do cover the tropical weather season as well. So if you are not subscribed to the channel or you have not liked today's live stream, be sure to do so down below, as you get nothing else like this on YouTube. I promise you that. We do detail the weather forecast as best and as accurately as possible as I can with the information that I have at my disposal for you folks on here. So make sure to subscribe and like the live stream. It is very important. Without further ado, though, if you do have any social media platform, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, I don't have a Facebook. I do have a Twitter, though. So if you want to follow me on Twitter at hweather420 as displayed on the screen, then I would appreciate that. I do update on that platform fairly frequently. If you want additional weather forecast updates in addition to today's live stream or any of my videos that I post, you can get more information on my Twitter page. So my Twitter handle is on the screen. I'll have it on there for another 30 seconds or so. It's capital hweather420. So there you go. That is my Twitter handle. So make sure to follow me on there as well. But yeah, here's the weather pattern as we go ahead in towards tonight. We have an upper level low across portions of Canada. This is into Ontario. That's really where the upper level low pressure system is centered, across northern Ontario. We do have a blocking high, though, up there toward Greenland, up there in the eastern portions of Canada and the eastern portions of North America. That's where we have a stronger high pressure system. But here closer to home, we have a high pressure system also in the desert Southwest Southwest. I know I was looking down at the chat. Other people on there were saying, well, when is this heat going to end? Well, not anytime soon, because this will actually be the driving force behind the storms across the Midwest and the Ohio Valley over the next several days. So the heat will continue to be on across the desert Southwest. That's with an expansive ridge of high pressure as we go into tonight. And by the middle of the week here on Wednesday, this is July 12th, we're going to see weakening of the upper level low up there in towards portions of Manitoba and northern Ontario. It will also pull a little bit further to the north, and the blocking high up there toward Greenland will weaken as well and move a little bit further to the north. So everything is going to move further north on Wednesday, including the ridge of high pressure down here into Southern California, Arizona, New Mexico, and West Texas. That's with the expansive heat wave. We could be seeing record high temperatures in some of these areas, and you know every single summer it is hot in this part of the world. So, when you're talking about record high temperatures in Arizona, you know it's hot across this region. So if you live in Phoenix, the Flagstaff region over there towards San Diego, Albuquerque, into portions of Fort Stockton, Texas, Amarillo, just some of the areas highlighted, that's the area that I expect the most heat over the next several days across the United States. So that is something to watch as well. But in between, you see where you have the blues up here into the upper Midwest, and then you have the oranges or reds or pinks or whatever the heck color you think it is down here across the southern United States. That is a battle zone across the middle of the country, and with the northwest flow over the top of that ridge, that's going to encourage more significant severe weather and even some flash flooding events possibly as we go into the middle of the week. So that will be something to watch out for, especially into that Tuesday and Wednesday timeframe. So that's the breakdown of the overall weather pattern across North America. I hope you appreciated that as well. If you did, press the like button down below. I appreciate your likes as well down below. But let's talk more about the heat real quick before we get into the storms. We have heat advisories across southern Florida here from the Fort Myers, Naples region, maybe even as far north as Tampa Bay, all the way down to Miami and even portions of Key West. It is hot for Florida and across southern Florida here this evening. Also heat advisories in the orange covering much of the Lone Star State here into Texas and back into southern portions of New Mexico. This is with some heat that could be expanding across this region. This is also a region I expect more excessive heat watches and warnings over the next few days. That is where we expect more of the heat to start to expand into Texas and New Mexico. We do have excessive heat warnings into southern Nevada, including the Las Vegas region, getting down towards San Diego there into portions just outside of Los Angeles. We have the excessive heat warnings, and then that expands eastward there into western Arizona, including the Phoenix area on west. And you know it's hot when you have excessive heat warnings in typically the hottest area in the United States for the summer, the Death Valley region. That is where we have the most expansive and the strongest heat over the next few days across that region. And we even have some excessive heat watches up across the Sacramento Valley, western portions of Nevada here. That's where we can expect some more excessive heat. Just conditions are favorable for the heat to build even stronger through the rest of the week. So looking at tonight, it's going to be a warm night across portions of Texas Hill Country. We're only cooling down into the upper 70s, if not just the low 80s here, especially from the Corpus Christi region up the coast there in Texas to the Beaumont region, even into Houston, and then Lake Charles into towards southwestern Louisiana. We're going to be around 80 degrees for an overnight low tonight. To the north, though, it's going to be pretty mild if you live in the Midwest, especially the lower Midwest here in the Ohio Valley. Temperatures will be in the low to mid 60s, around 70 there, and toward portions of Kansas City and down into Topeka, Wichita, and even portions of Dodge City, Kansas. We'll be watching out for some 70s for lows there. But there's a cold front further north, so it will be a little chillier. Maybe some light jackets up here into North Dakota, northern Minnesota, and northern Wisconsin. The same over here into the UP of Michigan. That's where we can expect some high temperatures, or low temperatures rather, getting into the 40s, maybe even mid 40s for overnight lows tonight across those areas. Then as we go into Tuesday, the heat is on into Texas. The Lone Star State again will be back across the 100-degree mark, widespread from Lubbock all the way down to the Houston region, the Rio Grande Valley down here into Brownsville, Texas, Corpus Christi. It will be a lot hotter as we go into your Tuesday. I expect 100 to 105, 106 type of heat across portions of Texas, especially out there into West Texas as we go into Tuesday. And then we're going to see that heat expand across the desert southwest through Arizona, New Mexico, and Southern California. The same holds true on Wednesday, more widespread heat. In fact, I think the Dallas-Fort Worth area on Wednesday cracks over the triple-digit point there at 101, 102 over here toward Abilene, 103 there into Lubbock, 105 in Midland, Texas, 101 also up there into Amarillo. So it's going to be hot across these areas as we go through the next couple of days. Now let's start to talk about the storm chances. That's why we're mainly here, is to talk about severe weather. We do have an enhanced risk for severe storms across southern Nebraska and northwest Kansas, with a long-lived area of slight risk across portions of the UP of Michigan, back through northern Wisconsin into southeastern Minnesota, northwest Iowa, and then mainly the Great Plains is going to be open season for severe weather as we go through this evening and overnight hours, with a slight to enhanced risk of severe weather from Nebraska all the way down into northwest Texas. And this does include the Texas Panhandle. So this is the risk area as we go through tonight. The dark green is a level 1 out of 5, the yellow is a 2 out of 5, and the 3 out of 5, which is the middle of the road on the scale, that is into southwestern and southern portions in Nebraska and northwestern Kansas. That's the enhanced risk. That is a 3 out of 5 on the scale. So that's what we see for today. And looking at the threat for severe weather, some significant hail is possible in excess of 2 inches in diameter across portions there of extreme northwest Iowa, extreme southeastern portions of South Dakota, central and eastern Nebraska, getting into western Kansas and eastern portions of Colorado. That is the area where you see the hatch marks there. That is at least a 29% chance of a 2-inch or larger diameter hailstone falling within a 50-mile radius there, or 25 miles of a point anyway, across that region. So that's what we see across portions of the Great Plains. We also could be seeing some stronger winds. Now, this is a more localized area. This is why we have an enhanced risk. That is for wind gusts over 74 miles per hour across southwestern and southern Nebraska, and getting into northwest Kansas, where you have the 30 to 44% shading, and you also have the hatch marks for the wind out there. That's where we see hurricane force wind gusts possible going through the rest of this evening. The tornado threat now today is maximized across north central Wisconsin, getting in towards southeastern Minnesota. This is for places like La Crosse, back into Rochester, maybe just north of Green Bay. As we go through the rest of this evening, the tornado threat is not going to be that big of a deal today. It'll mainly be the hail and the damaging wind threat. The hailstones could be over 2 inches in diameter, and also the winds could be hurricane force over 74 miles per hour. So that's what we see as we go through today. So the next couple of hours into this evening, we have some isolated supercells popping up from the Front Range all the way back there into towards the Midwestern regions, at least the Central Plains, up there into Nebraska, western Iowa. The coverage will be more scattered over the next couple of hours here. We're not talking about that big of a deal for anything widespread. But as we go overnight, we're going to see a couple of clusters of severe weather start to pop up through the evening hours and after midnight. And this could start as far north as, northern Wisconsin, a little bit more scattered or a broken line up here, as the instability will be a little weaker up across this region. But the shear will be a lot stronger because the jet stream is a little bit further toward the north. Whereas further south, we have the shear that is a little bit less, but the instability is much higher. So we have kind of a two-pronged attack here up across portions of the upper Midwest, Wisconsin into northeastern Iowa. This is more of a high shear, low cape environment through tonight. And then across Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, this is more of a high cape, low shear environment across this region as we go through tonight. And that's why we have the hail as we do. That's why we have the big, large 2-inch or larger hailstones, because of the high energy levels, the high cape. And if you guys don't know what cape is, it's convective available potential energy, and that's why we have so much of it across portions of the middle of the country, because of all the heat that's building across that area as well. Now, we will have some elevated thunderstorms up into Montana overnight. This could trail up there northwest into southern Alberta, Canada. Those probably could be strong to severe, but not that big of a deal. Mainly, we could see an isolated wind gust or two up in those areas. gusts around 60 miles per hour or some quarter-size hail, but other than that, I'm not too concerned about severe weather, and this is more elevated thunderstorm activity over the top of that ridge up here and towards the northern Rockies. Now, it's a big deal up across the Northeast. I didn't put this on the map, but we're seeing some serious flooding concerns across the Northeast here into extreme southeastern Canada and to Quebec there over the next 24 to 48 hours. A very rare and actually the first time a high risk for flash flooding has been issued for the state of Vermont up there. So a very, very interesting situation ongoing up there into the Northeast and interior New England there, Southeast Canada. We got some widespread flooding ongoing up in those areas as well. So we'll be watching that. But going over the next couple of days, this is the upper level jet stream on Tuesday. This is tomorrow, July 11th, and you can see this is a potent upper level jet. Now we're shooting up about 200 millibars into the atmosphere here, so this is up there a ways, but this is still transporting some moisture from the Pacific and a lot of wind energy above our heads as well up here in the portions of the northern plains and the upper Midwest, and this is going to be forcing the cold front further to the south over the next few days, and this will be forcing it into some heat and instability further south. And when you have the clash of air masses, that's where we have the battle zone going on, and you really see on Wednesday that jet stream gets a little bit more stronger as we go across the northern Rockies, the northern plains, and the Midwest. Even parts of the Ohio Valley starting to get a pretty strong jet there as we go into Wednesday as well. So fairly interesting weather pattern starting to shape up as we get toward the middle of the week, that is for sure. And you guys are always welcome to ask any questions in the live stream. I'm just kind of going over the weather pattern right now so you understand what is going to occur for the rest of this week. So don't hesitate to ask any questions. I will get to them, not right now, but I will get to them later on here in the live stream. So I appreciate your patience with me as we're going through the weather forecast here this afternoon and evening. But then going through this pattern, we have mentioned this several times. This is a classic derecho pattern that we do see typically into the middle of summer. We're getting into the middle of summer, the dog days of summer now. We have the big high pressure systems that we usually see. And on this map here, or this depiction of it, the high pressure system is not going to be across the southeast U.S. Take this and drag it a little bit further to the west. That's actually centered across the Four Corners region, but you get the point that the airflow around the high pressure will be clockwise. And we start to raise the red flag that we could be starting to see some progressive derechos over the next couple of days across the northern plains, the upper Midwest, the Ohio, and maybe even the Missouri and Tennessee river valleys as we go through the next several days. And just looking very interestingly for any of you folks that like to see statistics on here, derecho frequency by month, we do see another spike from June into July, back up to 21% frequency of derechos as we go into that time frame. And you do notice there's a number on every single one of the 12 months we have around the year, so you can even see a derecho into January and December, even in the middle of winter as well. So that is very interesting. That is very interesting. The frequency is a lot lower, but you can see a derecho each and every one of the next 12 months. That definitely is a possibility. So going into Tuesday, we have a slight risk for severe weather into southern and southeastern South Dakota, Nebraska, getting into west central Iowa, places like Des Moines, Omaha, back in toward North Platte, Lincoln, and then up there toward Rapid City. And getting very close to Kansas City as well, the St. Joseph region. We could start to see some severe weather as we go into Tuesday. This will be a later day event, so this will not be Tuesday morning. This will be Tuesday late afternoon, evening, and into the overnight hours, with likely the latter of that being true. It probably will be more so overnight Tuesday than during the day, with many of these areas seeing severe weather. And then we see a marginal risk extending further east across the southern Great Lakes region. This includes metropolitan areas as Peoria, Chicago, Detroit, Fort Wayne, Gary, Indiana, and maybe up there toward Toledo as well. So we'll be watching you guys for some marginally severe storms Tuesday evening and into the overnight hours. Another cold front across the Great Lake, or across the Gulf Coast rather. We could be seeing some marginally strong storms. The Storm Prediction Center has noted in their day 2 synopsis that they could upgrade this area across Louisiana and East Texas to a slight risk of severe weather by the day 1 outlook, which will come out at 1 a.m. a.m. Central Daylight Time tomorrow. We'll be watching out for you if you live there in toward the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Tyler, Texas, Shreveport, Lake Charles, Alexandria, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Hattiesburg, getting down toward Mobile, maybe even Panama City as well. Those are the areas at risk for some stronger and severe storms on Tuesday down across the Gulf Coast states. Now going into Wednesday, this could be the bigger day and probably the biggest day for severe weather this week that it looks to be panning out on Wednesday. So we have a large slight risk across the mid-Missouri Valley down through the Illinois Valley there. And some of the same areas will be overlapped with severe weather Tuesday into Wednesday. So the western half of this outlook area will probably be Wednesday morning. The eastern half will be Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday night. So that will be what we're seeing. So if you live in Chicago, for example, or Paducah, Kentucky, Indianapolis, this will be mainly a later day event for you on Wednesday. If you live further west, places like Des Moines, Kansas City, getting back here in toward the Omaha region, this will be more of an earlier day event for you on Wednesday. So that is what we're seeing here with the current outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. So moving forward, this is what could occur. So let's get into the meat and potatoes about what we see with the update here. This is the EPS ensemble. This is the European ensemble guidance, and this does very well throughout the year. An ensemble takes an average of all of the European ensemble members and puts them into one ensemble here and gives you the most likely outcome of what you could see. So this is the rainfall accumulation map. This is for Tuesday night. You can see back here into the northern high plains. That's where we could start to see some showers and storms erupt, and a few of those could turn severe. Damaging winds being the main threat, followed by large hail and tornadoes. This go around, I think, with this severe weather threat this week, the tornado threat will be low. It won't be zero, but it will be low. I think the majority of the storms this week will be large hail and damaging wind producers across portions of the northern plains, the upper Midwest, and eventually sagging down into the Missouri Valley, the Tennessee Valley, and the Ohio Valley later on in toward the week. So that's where we see it on Tuesday. So we're going to watch you guys there into South Dakota, Nebraska, Western Iowa, and Northeast Kansas. That's where we could erupt with some severe weather as we go into Tuesday night. This will probably be more of a later day event. Like I said, this will be Tuesday night. So this will be late evening after midnight, getting into the pre-dawn hours of your Wednesday morning back across these areas. Then as we go into Wednesday, now this is an ensemble guidance. It goes a little bit further north than what the Storm Prediction Center's outlook is. The Storm Prediction Center has the outlook a little further south with a slight risk. I think there's a possibility that this outlook gets a little bit shifted further to the north with what I'm seeing with the afternoon runs of the data this afternoon. Now, with that said, the HRRR model continues to favor Missouri and southern Illinois with some significant severe weather as we go into Wednesday, and possibly two rounds, one in the morning and then another one in the afternoon or evening. And they both will be domino effects of how strong either one will be. So if the if the stronger type is in the morning, it'll kind of squelch the atmosphere of energy, and we won't see much in the way of severe weather in the afternoon and evening. There still could be some, but there won't be as much. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, we have the morning activity in a weakening phase, and then we could start to see stronger activity with the second round, and that could be more robust and could turn into a derecho as we have more energy fueled off of the insolation from the sun. The dew points will be much higher into the 60s and 70s. A lot more of the wind shear will be coming in, so a lot more of the ingredients as we go in towards portions of the Midwest. But with this particular ensemble, right now it is favoring eastern Iowa, northeastern Missouri, and north central Illinois. So if you live in Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, the Davenport Quad Cities region, Peoria, Rockford, Illinois, Chicago, Bloomington, Normal, Quincy, Illinois, those are some of the areas I'm most concerned about. If I named your city or your metropolitan area just now, you guys are in my spectrum of saying you guys could have some significant severe weather as we go into Wednesday. Now, as we go into Wednesday night, depending on what happens during the day, we could start to see this transition more into the Ohio Valley. Now, this will be the western Ohio Valley, so I still think we'll stay dry mainly there into southeastern portions of Ohio. East Central Kentucky, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania Wednesday night will still stay dry. So if you live in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Eastern Kentucky, and even Eastern Tennessee, I'm very highly confident you guys will be dry through the entirety of the day on Wednesday. I can't rule out a stray shower or thunderstorm, but it will not be severe, and more than likely you will stay dry as we go through the day on Wednesday. So that's what I'm currently seeing across portions of the Midwest, the Ohio Valley. So let's kind of talk about what to expect as we go into Wednesday. Now, this is my current thoughts. This is different from the Storm Prediction Center. The Storm Prediction Center, they are the experts, and they are the ones I go off of for the actual forecast for severe weather. But this is my thoughts. If you guys want to know my thoughts currently for Wednesday, July 12th, the severe weather threat is possible across anywhere you see in the yellow outlined area. So if you live anywhere in these yellow outlined area on Wednesday, just keep an eye to the sky, have multiple ways to get watches, warnings, whether it's a phone, like a smartphone, a laptop, a NOAA weather radio, very good at giving you signals of when severe weather will strike. So that definitely is very helpful tools as well. But if you live anywhere in the red, now the red where it says severe, that is the area in which I think the MCS or possible derecho, if it does turn into a derecho, will track as of now. So this was just an update. I just looked at all the guidance. I made this map. It took me a little while to kind of, line up where I saw all of this, occurring. It took me a couple of hours to kind of finagle this and kind of put it together, but we finally got it together. And right now with the red shaded color, that is currently my thought on where the track of this system will go. So I think the strongest part of this will start to develop in northwestern and northern Iowa up here, and this will be more early morning there on Wednesday. Then it will track for a time further to the east. It'll be just due east from west to east across Iowa, Des Moines, back here towards Cedar Rapids, Waterloo is in play, Iowa City, maybe Ottumwa, Iowa at times as well in the southern flank of this MCS cluster. Then as we go through midday, around midday or so, again, the timing's a little tough right now. We will be fine-tuning this in the next couple of days, but right now what I see for timing is more midday around the Mississippi River. So if you live from Clinton, Iowa, down through Muscatine, Davenport, Quad Cities region, Quincy, Hannibal, and then down towards St. Louis, this is around late morning, early afternoon, or around midday time frame is my current thinking of when this system will be moving into your area. This will start to turn more south and east, or at least east southeasterly with its motion versus the morning hours. So it'll start over here in northwest Iowa, move further to the east, and then it'll start to drop along that instability gradient further towards portions of north central Illinois, and then eventually starting to turn more southward towards the instability gradient towards southern Illinois and southern Indiana as we go later on toward Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. So this is currently my thoughts on where the track of this will be. So again, it'll start up here in northwest Iowa, it'll push east for a few hours, and then it'll track probably along an instability gradient where you have not much instability to the northeast and a strong reservoir of instability here to the south and right along that stationary boundary. And that is also an area I am concerned about flash flooding as well. So in addition to the severe weather threat, I think the flash flooding will be a big issue across this region as well. There is a fairly classic signal on a lot of the models in which we haven't seen probably in a couple years' time across portions of Illinois, northeastern Missouri, and eastern Iowa for a flash flooding scenario of which we could see in excess of 3 to 4 inches of rain in a very short amount of time, and we're talking just a couple hours. So this is a rather significant signal I haven't seen in the weather models in quite some time. Will the trends continue for that? That is something to keep an eye on. And there's also a possibility that two things could happen here. Okay, so there's another thing, fuel to the fire, if you will. So this is where the severe weather threat is. There's two scenarios that could occur here with what I'm seeing in the weather models as well that I do want to make note of. We could have a derecho. That is definitely on the table. And this would produce a widespread damaging wind swaths across a large region and move very quickly. You guys know what derechos are. Or we could have a hybrid of a derecho and a flash flooding event. We could have a derecho move through, and then we have back building on the southern side of the derecho, somewhere across Iowa, northern Missouri, or west central Illinois, and we could start to see a significant flash flooding event occur after the windstorm moves through. Or the third option is we don't have a derecho and we have just a straight up significant flash flooding threat, and that would raise the alarm for some areas, possibly getting 5 to 6 inches of rain as we go into Wednesday. That is a very real possibility. So a lot of scenarios on the table here, folks. I know it's Monday, and I know I'm pulling my hair out trying to figure out what's going to happen here. My current thought is a hybrid of the two. I think there's going to be a derecho, or at least a chance of one, a pretty decent chance of one, or at least an MCS complex that moves pretty quickly, produces a lot of damaging winds and hail. And then we start to see that complex back build and produce a lot of rainfall here for several hours behind it. So I think that is definitely a possibility, and that's probably the most likely scenario as we go into Wednesday. That's currently what I'm thinking right now. So I'm going with scenario 2 of all the 3 scenarios that I mentioned. Number 1 being just a straight up derecho, number 2 being a derecho and flash flooding threat, or number 3 just being a flash flooding threat. I think it'll be a hybrid of both the potential for a derecho and also the potential for flash flooding. So that is my current thoughts as we go into Wednesday. I know I did a lot of talking. I just wanted to make you aware of the problems in the forecast. Forecasts are always fluid. They always change. It's always a prediction. So that is something we'll keep an eye on as we go through the next 24 to 48 hours. And don't be surprised if this area swings further north or south. There is wobbling that will be possible over the next couple of days with this. So if this red area shifts further to the south by 100 miles, it wouldn't surprise me. If this red area shifts further north by a couple hundred miles, it wouldn't surprise me. So we'll continue to watch this over the next 24 to 48 hours. But then as we go into Thursday, all of this, nonetheless, whatever happens, this will all push that cold front further to the south on Thursday, and we'll be setting up more storms, probably some heavy rain and severe weather Thursday across the lower Ohio Valley. This will be more for West Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee, and then back building its way west there toward portions of Missouri, especially around the Ozarks region, and then getting in towards Tulsa there and in towards Wichita as well as we go into Thursday. And this is currently where severe weather is more possible as we go into Thursday. Pretty much the entire state of Kentucky, parts of West Virginia there, pretty much the entire state of Tennessee, getting into northern and central portions of the Arkansas region, Jonesboro, the Little Rock here, Fort Smith. Those will be some of the areas to watch for some severe weather. And then that could back build its way into northeastern Oklahoma and central Kansas as we go into Thursday. So that is what we're seeing as we go through the next few days. So anybody have any questions about what I just went over here on the live stream weather forecast? Be sure to ask your questions here. Make sure also to press that like button. It definitely helps out more than you know, and I really do appreciate that with pressing the like button as well. Let's get as many likes as we can on here. And hello to Joey, One Nation Weather, Joseph Peck, thank you for joining. What about West Virginia? I think for West Virginia, the biggest threat for you will be on Thursday with heavy rain and severe weather. You should be mainly dry in West Virginia on Tuesday and Wednesday. You'll be dry because the cold front will be trending further to the north for you. Rain Mavs, thank you for joining. Jordan Smith, thanks as well. You're from Central Illinois? Well, there you go. You got a possible derecho on your hands on Wednesday. Yeah, I know. I'm glad it was working as well because earlier on I had internet issues and now I'm fine. So hopefully we're good. I think we're good for the rest of the night here. He called the derecho days ago. He's accurate. Yeah, absolutely. I take what weather data I have at my disposal and give you the most accurate forecast possible. So another reason to subscribe. If you're not subscribed to Weather on the Go here, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to subscribe. This will be one of the most accurate weather pages you will find on YouTube. I promise you that. And if you like weather breakdowns, this is the place for you. Molly, thank you for joining. I'm also from Northern Illinois. Absolutely, so am I. So thank you. Yeah, we are in play for a Derecho on Wednesday. I will probably try to go live on Wednesday if we have a Derecho, but as you know, if I live in Northern Illinois and I get a Derecho, there's always a possibility that I lose power. So we'll have to wait and see. Hey, Haley, thanks for joining. 84 degrees, Rain Mavs. Yeah, that's not too bad. As long as it's not too humid. Yeah, I know in the upper Midwest it's 84 degrees, but if you have a 70-degree dew point, it feels like the 90s or the hundreds. It's pretty hot. Yeah, absolutely. And is Cancun, Mexico expecting any storms from the 22nd, 29th of July? Well, that's too far ahead of time. I am sorry about that. I cannot answer that right now. If you're talking about the tropics, it's busy in the Eastern Pacific right now. We're waiting on Calvin to start developing over the next day or so. That'll be pushing over the open waters west towards portions of like the Central Pacific eventually and weakening out as it moves over the cooler waters there. Yeah, well, the upper Midwest never really gets into the heat wave. So, I mean, if you call the 80s heat, well, then there you go. You get a break from the heat. Back into the 70s we go. How's the Chicago area looking? If you live in the Chicago area, to wait and see type of thing right now, there definitely is a possibility for a derecho near or just south of you in Chicago. So a lot of uncertainty still. There's also the threat for flash flooding on the table there as well for Chicago. I know parts of the Chicagoland area has flash flood warnings not too long ago, like a week or so ago, and had some flash flooding occur. That could happen again. Maybe more widespread than last time. So we'll have to wait and see. And guys, just to let you know, I'm not. It's not a certainty that a derecho will occur, but it is a possibility. Okay, it's a possibility. So anywhere you see the yellow, a derecho is possible, especially in the red shade of color here on the screen. Hey, Linda, thanks for joining. Uh, Only 74 days until autumn. Can't wait. Yeah, absolutely. It's coming quick, ain't it? Just several weeks away. Not too far. Couple of months. Hey, thanks, Tim, for joining. And Blondie, thank you for joining as well. Kathy, thank you. 92 and windy up there in Wisconsin, Tim. Wow, yeah, pretty hot up there. At least you got the wind to contend with, so it's not just stale air, right? I'm about 30 miles west of Chicago. Well, there you go. You're in my neck of the woods. I live west of Chicago as well. Yeah, and the Midwest really needs rain. Whether or not we get flash flooding or severe weather, we need rain up here in the Midwest. There's severe drought, extreme drought developing. Yeah, that's absolutely something we're going to continue to watch. I'm going to leave this up on the screen. This is just my thoughts for Wednesday severe weather threat. Again, the yellow and the anywhere in the yellow or red, you could see severe weather, especially in the red. So there you go. That's my thoughts right now. I'll have updates on my video tomorrow as well. 3 to 4 inches of rain in Illinois. Wow, that's new. Yeah, it could happen. It's a possibility, not a certainty. Well, I got to get caught up here on the chat. The chat's moving kind of quick for me. I'm kind of taking my time through scrolling down on the questions here. I live in Quincy, Illinois. My house is literally by a lake. Well, there you go. Your lake's probably pretty low with water right now because of the drought, I bet. I can't say whether or not there's going to be a flash flood emergency in Illinois, but whenever you have flash flooding, it's not good. So hopefully not too much flash flooding as we go into Wednesday. Do I have a forecast for Friday? Not right now, Joey, because Friday's there's a lot of severe weather days ahead, and I'm honestly just looking for Tuesday and Wednesday mainly. And to be quite honest, I'm not really worried about today's severe weather threat. Not really that big of a tornado threat. Just today's mainly just 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail across the Great Plains and parts of the upper Midwest. It's really not that big of a day for severe weather. Hey, thank you to Christian, the based burrito, for the $5 donation. Thanks for the constant info. Love Wichita Falls, Texas. Thank you. Love from Wichita Falls, Texas. Thank you so much for the donation. Everybody, give him a round of applause in the live stream chat. Thank you so much for your generous donation of $5. I know it's hot down there in Wichita Falls. Hopefully, you can stay hydrated and stay out of the sun down there. It's going to be hot the next couple of days. Triple digit heat. It could be up to near 105 there in Wichita Falls over the next couple of days. Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe even on Thursday as well. All right. Hey, sorry, guys. I'm just reading the chat here. Moving kind of quick. Kevin says, any severe weather coming for Minnesota this week? I just tuned in. Right now, southern Minnesota is at risk, and it's not really that big of a deal. I think today's the day for severe weather, mainly in Minnesota, and probably into the day tomorrow. Again, mainly southern Minnesota, but other than that, we're not seeing that big of a deal there. It's going to be mainly to your south and southeast. Barbara says, I'm trying to get my 97-year-old mom to Amarillo on Saturday. I live in southwest Missouri. Will the weather be clear by then? Yes, I think Saturday. Well, Saturday there could be some showers and thunderstorms as that cold front really kind of just slows down as it pushes from the upper Midwest to like the Ozarks region. So if you're in southwest Missouri, there still could be some showers and storms around on Saturday, and it's still possible they could produce heavy rain and have severe weather with them. Right now, it's kind of far out to say how severe or how heavy the rain could be, but just to wait and see. So stay tuned on that the next couple of days. But right now, I say a 50-50 chance of showers and storms in southwest Missouri on Saturday. You grew up in Chicago too, Kalina? Do we still have a chance of rain this week? Well, where, where, Linda? The upper Midwest? Yeah, Kentucky and Owensboro. I think maybe towards Wednesday night you may start to get some storms down there into Owensboro, but I'm unsure of how severe they will be. Really just depends on what happens Tuesday night to Wednesday morning. So we'll have to wait and see on that. I'll have an update in the morning for you. Will Stow, Ohio at least get thunder activity Wednesday? Yeah, I think you could get some thunderstorms. I'm not too crazy about the severe weather threat there in the northeastern Ohio. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, but yeah, possibly some thunderstorms on Wednesday there in northeast Ohio. Other than that, not too big of a deal. New York just had flooding too, Lynn said. Yeah, there's been a lot of flooding lately. Justin says, how is this going to affect Western Pennsylvania? I think Western Pennsylvania should be good for the most part. Most of the severe weather will be well to your west or south. You're going to kind of be in between a lot of the rainfall events here the next few days. So maybe some rain at times, but it'll be mainly lighter rain. Nothing too crazy there. Kimberly says, what are the chances of Southern Illinois getting strong winds on Wednesday or Thursday? I think Wednesday's the day for some pretty strong storms, but Thursday could also present the threat for severe weather. So pretty decent both days. I think the bigger day of the two is on Wednesday. Mainly Wednesday afternoon and evening for Southern Illinois. And that does include the threat for a derecho as well. Yes, absolutely. It's possible. The St. Louis area included, yes. Possibly a derecho on Wednesday. Not a guarantee, not a certainty, but it's still possible. Yeah, wasn't there a derecho like a week ago? Just around the fourth time frame in central and southern Illinois? I think that was this month as well. Or maybe I'm mistaken. I don't know. Time goes so fast these days. Is there a chance to see a derecho in Iowa? Yes. That's why Iowa's in red right now on the screen. Anywhere in red has the best chance of a derecho on Wednesday. Anywhere you see highlighted in the yellow on the screen could have a derecho on Wednesday. Anywhere in the red, especially, you have a higher probability of that, where it says severe in the red shaded color there. Oh, Linda says rain, northern lower Michigan. Yeah, northern lower Michigan could have some rain, but the strongest weather will be Wells here south. So we're talking, we might not even be talking about southern lower Michigan as much. We're talking more Indiana, western Ohio, and back into like Wisconsin and, southern Wisconsin, and then into Illinois. Perfect. I'm north of Minneapolis. I'm a mobile detailer, so I got to work outside. I have jobs tomorrow and Wednesday, so glad the severe weather is south of me. Yeah, it looks to be mainly south of you. Just watch it on Tuesday, tomorrow. That's your best shot at some severe weather up there in the Minneapolis region tomorrow on Tuesday. Other than that, not too big of a deal. It should be shifting more south on Wednesday and Thursday. No, Tyler Stokes, no, I don't think so. It'll be well to your west. Yeah, absolutely, Kimberly. Wait, one more question. What is the yellow? The yellow is just a possibility of severe weather on Wednesday. How does this weekend severe weather look for Arkansas? I think going in toward this upcoming weekend, yeah, northern Arkansas, like the Jonesboro area, Fort Smith, maybe north of Little Rock, we could start to see some severe weather on Saturday, maybe Sunday, but it's still far out yet to know for sure and what those risks could look like. But I would imagine it would be more of a damaging wind and hail threat versus a tornado threat. Like we see a lot of the time later on in the summer, we usually start to transition more to damaging wind and hail events versus tornado outbreaks. And then the tornado outbreak threat usually comes back in the fall where we have more wind shear, a lot more widespread in the United States. I mean, you can still see tornado outbreaks in the summer, they're just not as frequent. Yeah, I think so too, Jordan. I think an upgrade to an enhanced risk will be possible. The reason why they haven't yet, just uncertainty probably within the mode of severe weather, whether or not there'll be a derecho and where exactly the placement of that will be, because it's still shifting a little bit in the weather models right now. That's probably why we don't have an enhanced risk, and it's also a couple days away. So do I not have to worry about 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts and small hail? There's still a marginal risk for severe weather there in the Stowe, Ohio region. Yeah, no problem, Kimberly. Well, I guess all of us in Illinois can hang out until. I promise you guys, we'll get through this though, Jordan. So no worries. And it's not a guarantee that a derecho occurs. It's a possibility. Okay, make sure you know that. Just a possibility. I have no idea, Elwood, if there's going to be a green shelf cloud in Iowa. Typically, if there's a derecho or a strong line of storms, there will be a shelf cloud of some sort or a wall cloud. Will it be green or blue or yellow? I have no idea. I watch your weather every single day that you post. You are my absolute favorite weatherman. Keep up the amazing job. Absolutely. Thank you for the convincing words, Kimberly. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. There could be some spin up tornadoes, but the main threat would be widespread damaging winds. What's a green shelf cloud? It's a shelf cloud that is green. It looks like a shelf. The cloud, just look it up on Google what a shelf cloud looks like. It's pretty cool. I mean, it looks like you can put books in it. It looks literally like a bookshelf. It's exactly what it means. It's a shelf cloud, and the green. The reason why you'd say green is if there's like hail falling or really heavy rain, and you have a little bit of sunlight in the background. It kind of the light kind of bends a little bit, makes it green color. Does severe weather ever calm down? It's like we never. Yeah, well, it's been a very active. We're transitioning out of La Nina, and now we're in an El Nino. So enjoy the El Nino with more rain in the south, and with the heat, it comes severe weather. The climate's just changing so fast right now, so we just get a lot of severe weather. It just seems like it, honestly. I agree. Yeah, make sure to press the like button down below. We are only up to 73 likes, guys. Come on, you guys can get me up to 100. Thank you. Central Midwest have been getting big storms this summer. Yeah, absolutely. And that looks to continue for the foreseeable future. Thank you for the wonderful live stream. I got to go, though. Absolutely. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Will there be more severe weather on July 14th in Iowa? It's possible. The 14th, I think it'll probably be trending more to your south, like Missouri. All right. Well, we need 25 more. Yeah, 24 now. 24 more likes to get to 100. So I appreciate that. If we can get to at least 100 likes at the end of this live stream. Thank you all for returning after my technical difficulties earlier on with the internet. I got it back to running again. It was connected to Wi-Fi, and then it disconnected me off Wi-Fi, and then connected me back to Wi-Fi, and vice versa for like 10 minutes there, so I apologize. Hopefully in future live streams it doesn't do that again, but I can't guarantee that. The Weather Channel is showing thunderstorms for tonight and rain tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The chances of rain are going up there, so there you go. How long does an El Nino pattern last? Usually about 8 to 12 months. Victoria says Virginia. Yeah, there could be some regular thunderstorms in Virginia, but the severity of them are going to be very low. Just mainly some heavy rain, maybe some very small hail or a wind gust or two with those. That's about it, if anything at all. Virginia is going to be on the outskirts of the severe weather. The severe weather this week is mainly in the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and the Central Plains. Yeah, they got 8 inches of rain. Yeah. They have a high risk for flash flooding up in Vermont. The very first ever high risk for flash flooding ever in the state of Vermont was issued today. Usually, derechos produce hurricane force winds of 74 plus miles per hour most of the time. And in rare instances, derechos could produce winds over 100 miles per hour. It just depends. We're not seeing any sign that the Storm Prediction Center does not. The Storm Prediction Center does not have a hatched risk out for significant wind or anything yet, but that could change if an enhanced risk is issued in the next few days. What's the difference between El Nino and La Nina? And El Nino is where you see in the equatorial Pacific Ocean, it's just west of South America there in the Central Americas, where the ocean waters are warmer than normal, where you see the orange blobs, that's in warmer than normal sea surface temperatures. That's El Nino. Where it trends colder, that's La Nina. That's the difference. And the difference as well is El Nino brings a drier summer to the northern United States, also a drier and warmer winter to the upper Midwest and Great Lakes. And El Nino brings a lot more nor'easters and heavy snow, colder weather across the East Coast and Northeast, and an active storm track across the South. Whereas La Nina brings drier weather and warmer weather for the winter down across the South and the East Coast, and brings more snow to the Midwest and Great Lakes. Those are the differences, just to name a few. Yeah, they are in a state of emergency. Yeah, a lot of flooding. There's a lot of hilly terrain up there, up in Vermont. If you imagine, if you're driving through Vermont and there's a lot of hills, you can just imagine if you get a little bit of rain on there, probably some runoff. But when you see inches of rain, 6, 7, 8, 10 inches of rain perhaps, yeah, that's a problem. And you got a lot of runoff and it produces a lot of flash flooding. You're excited for the winter. Why winter forecast won't be out for quite some time? You got a few months yet. because I want to be as accurate as I can. It's too early for a winter forecast or even a fall forecast. My fall forecast will be out either the last week in July here or early August. Absolutely, yeah, Jordan. Right now, that's what it seems like, but who knows? 2018, yeah. Yep. Well, if you're looking at the Weather Channel app on your phone, sometimes that changes a lot and it only relies on one weather model. See, that's why we don't do that. We look at ensembles, operational models, mesoscale models, a bunch of different things to determine the weather forecast, not just one single weather model. All right, guys. Well, thank you. It's been good chatting with you guys on the live stream and let you know the information. I appreciate everybody joining here this evening and this afternoon, wherever you're at on the West Coast, the center of the country, the East Coast, um, anywhere else. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for the donation as well. I appreciate the $5 from Christian, the Based Burrito. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that you're from Wichita Falls. And absolutely, I'll continue to inform all you guys on the weather forecast and all that stuff in the coming days. So be sure to stay tuned. I'll have another video out tomorrow morning, likely early, so probably around 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Make sure to press the like button on that. Get this information out to more people. Comment any questions down below. I usually answer everybody on my videos, so don't hesitate to ask if you have any questions. All right. Yeah, goodbye, Elwood and Jordan. Thank you all for joining. And hopefully we will have no severe weather over the next couple of days, but there is the area on the screen that we'll be watching for Wednesday. So, all right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll have another update tomorrow. Have a great rest of your night. Go eat some dinner, guys. Go outside before the sun goes down. Enjoy the nice weather if you live in the Midwest. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.